Hey everybody, welcome to my craziness. That's how I feel sometimes. I am working on deciding what to do with the interior. So first I'm going to say hello and welcome. And if you're new here, as I said once before, welcome to my craziness. I worked on this last night and I flipped the butterfly around. Before it was facing, like if you looked at it this way, it was right side up. It was driving me crazy. I flipped it upside down. It still seems weird. I should have made everything face this way. I didn't, so I'm going to deal with it. I did add this and I did tons of French knots around it. And I did French knots in the center here. And I did some stitches here, wrap that, some more knots. Sewed this on. I think I did that on camera and I messed it up, but that's okay. You know, I'm not perfect. I did do some seed stitches in here because it looked very plain just sitting there. What else did I do? And I added a few more seed stitches down here. There's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a tie closure, a button with an elastic closure. I'm not sure. This one I did the elastic. I just have it knotted around this button and it goes around this buttons and it's very simple and easy and I don't have to mess with the long tie. So I may go that route. However, now it's time to do the interior and I can always throw a few stitches in there. But when I sew the front to the back, this edge is going to get sewed down anyway. Now, as you'll notice, there's a lot more kind of teal and aquas and, you know, more on the blue side than the purple side. So I thought about doing this dark purple for the flip side of this, and that would look pretty nice. However, I think the felt I'm going to use inside is going to be purple. Thank you, Robin, very much. My lovely friend and subscriber, Robin, sent me some felt recently, and it's going to be used. So I think I'm going to go with a lighter inside. Now, I have the dragonfly fabric, which is down here, so that would tie it in. However, I mean, this is a pretty substantial fabric. It's pretty thick. This one feels a lot thicker to me. I don't know why. I don't know. I guess they're about the same because I can see through that one. I guess I can see through that one less. This one, however, because I love the dragonflies, I don't know if I want to use it on the inside of this and cover it all up. And I was thinking that, scissors. I was thinking that maybe just having the plain fabric would be better. You know, nothing fancy. The cloud fabric. I don't know. Oh, decisions are so hard some days. I don't know. And I can't ask you because you're not really here. And in the end, it has to be my decision anyway. I really do like that. I think we're going with the dragonfly. Okay, decision made. Now I just have to rock it, right? Just gotta go with it, rock it, make it mine, and it'll be all good. Okay, lots of loose things here. So I hope if you've never made a stitch book before, I mean a needle book, don't know where stitch book came from, I hope that I am not like making it harder than you think you can do, because trust me, I make everything look harder and you can do this. If I can do it, you can do it. And it doesn't have to be this big. You can make a simple book like this. This was just muslin with batting on the inside and another piece of muslin on the other side, and I stitched it, hand stitched it. You can machine sew it if you do that. And it does not have to be complicated or difficult. And I put a little pocket here out of felt and just stitched it down, put a little decoration inside. I keep flipping that around. I have 2 pieces of felt here because it makes it more substantial, and your needles, my needles and pins, tend to stay in better because I have 2 pieces of felt back to back. And that's just like, you know, for the scissors. So it's not hard. If you're doing this for the first time, it's not hard at all. If I button that, I'll never get into it. I have to unbutton it every time. Okay, now, I do believe both of these edges are torn. And I don't know, I need it to be 2 straight edges. Do I cut it? Do I mean, this is skewed from me stitching on it. So I'm going to tear this. And I just wanted to share the decision process. Like, I pulled everything out and I'm looking at it, kept pulling more stuff out. And I'm like, no, narrow it down. And then what I did was I went and ate breakfast. I took a break. I walked away from it. Even though I was immersed in what I wanted to do with it. Oh, I hope this works. Even though I was immersed in what I wanted to do with it, I'm going to tear this, I think, but I'm going to tear it a little wide. I can always trim it later, and it'll suck in some when it, I should say pull in. It'll pull in some when, I'm so bad, when I stitch on it. There. Well, that wasn't so bad. I mean, I have some loosey-goosey edges over here, so I'm going to try and trim these up just the teensiest bit. And just clean it up just a little bit. Okay. And it's still wonky. It's okay. You know, I'm not shooting for perfect here. I'm shooting for making me happy. Yes, I want to be happy with what I do. And that's all that matters, is being happy with what you do. I mean, you have to be kind to other people in the process, but if you're making something for yourself, be happy with be happy with what you do and what you want. So, there it is. Now, I'm going to turn the camera off, and I'm going to just blanket stitch or whip stitch or something this backing on. Because at the moment, that's all I need to do. And if I do this on camera, it'll just take the whole hour. Trust me. Whew, it's cutting it close. Okay, I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I am back. I have it sewn on. And of course, I got about halfway through. I'll turn it this way so it's easier to see. I got about halfway through, probably a little more than that, and realized, you know, it would have been a smart move to sew my pockets on before sewing this down. So if you're doing this and you're putting the inside on and you want pockets, it's going to be a lot easier for you to do that. Measure it out, figure out where the pockets will go, sew them on first. As I've said before a million times, I do everything the hard way. This is a piece of 100% wool felt that I got on Amazon from a lady who used to own a quilt shop here in the area, about 45 minutes away from here. And she still has her Etsy shop as far as I'm aware. I will try to link that below in the description box. It's not the exact colors, but I really like it. It's a wonderful felt. And then Robin sent me some felt, and one I think is bamboo. Now, Robin, I don't know if you'll remember and you want to comment below. This one is so soft. I think this is the bamboo. Not 100% sure. It's very flimsy though. Stretches a little bit. I'm not sure if that's the one I'm going to use for the pages or this one. This one's nice. It's thick. I think it's 100% wool felt. It feels like it. So I'm probably going to use a combination of these two things. So first I said this is the flap. So that's where this is going to fold over. So if I want to make my pocket for my scissors, it's going to have to be there. Now, that works if I do it that way. If I do it this way, I'm just worried that however I try to keep those in, they aren't going to stay. So I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to try and make a pocket. Notice I said try. And I am wishing I had another layer of batting under here. So think about this stuff before you put it together. Because, you know, now this does have like purples in it and kind of a grayish blue, and I really like it. So I think I'm going to make a pocket. However, how do I want the pocket shaped? Okay, when I get confused, I pull out a piece of paper, which I don't always have right on hand. There's a piece here, good old notebook paper. Okay, so I'm thinking a pocket like this. And I may end up putting embroidery scissors in it, so I want to make it deeper. I wish I could find my embroidery scissors. I mean, seriously, like, actually, okay. So if I did, see, I'm telling you, my brain does not process things like it should. So I guess that would be, yes. Yes. Yay, Martha. Yay, Martha. Okay. I'm going to make this just, that's deeper. It also still has to fit in the space. So if all else fails, make yourself a paper pattern first. Okay. So let's see. If I put that, that's going to be really long. And see, it's going to be too long. So it's going to have to come up at least that much. So that's going to be like that. And that's going to come up like that. It's still folding up a little bit, so I'm going to have to do it like that. These lines going every which way are really throwing me off for getting it straight across. Okay. So that's going to go like that. I'm pressing there. See, it's still curling up some. Okay. Now, I will say that when I put the pages in here, it's going to sit up higher, so I probably don't have to go quite that short. That should work. Yes. And that's probably, it probably could be a teensy bit longer. So I'm going to cut it right about there. Okay. Whew. So much work. Too much brain work for me. Really, honestly. I'm just really... So I'm going to put this down a little bit like that. And I'm going to roll with that, even though it curls up a little bit there. Like I said, when I put the other felt in, this is going to sit up higher, and there's going to be give. So I'm going to make it this size. Now, I think I'm actually going to make it out of this because this is a way stronger, stiffer felt, and I think it's going to hold up better. Now, I need a little bit on the sides. I'm going to use this side over here. I want a little bit of almost like a seam allowance kind of thing is what I'm shooting for here. A little bit wider than the piece of paper. And just a teensy bit taller. And I'll just clean up this edge here. It's a little curved. Okay. It's probably not anywhere close to being the right kind of shape, but close enough for me. Alrighty, so here. Then I'm just going to stitch it down by not going through the front. I think I'll use the DMC. I want a longer piece than that just because. Somebody asked me, I'm sorry, I did not write your name down before I started this, and I'm using both of my devices, my iPad and my iPhone, so I can't look it up right now. Somebody asked me, and thank you for the question, if there was a difference between the DMC and the Eleganza. So this is the Eleganza, and this is DMC. You can see by the label here. Now, I don't see, well, this is a size 8, this is a size 8. I don't see any difference between them as far as using them. The twist is made the same way. I don't find it easier or more difficult to stitch with one as opposed to the other. I don't favor one over the other. However, that being said, I cannot get the DMC floss in a variegated. And the reason I use the Eleganza is because it's variegated. I've got 4 different boxes. Now, I separated them by color scheme, but I have 4 different of these sets of boxes with various colors in them. And I bought 2 at one time, and then like a year later bought another 2 different color schemes. A couple of them have, a couple of the boxes have maybe 1 or 2 in there that are the same colors. I have repeat colors. That's okay. I'm good with that. And so, well, let me try this first. Before I get to sewing, and that's going to be that's not really wide enough. I think I'm going to have to make it wider. Darn, Martha. See? Okay. I'm going to make it wider than that. So what I'm going to do is... Sorry about this, people. This is my process. This is how it goes. And I want to show those that maybe haven't made one before. Not that I know that anybody here is in that category, but actually, I can go this way. I just need it wider at the top. So I'm going to go out more. That's probably overkill now, but I can trim it down. I can't put it back on once I cut it. I think I'm actually going to stick with that because I do have to sew it down and it's going to tighten it some. All right, that's probably a little bit overkill. So I'm going to just tighten this up just a little bit. Okay. There. All righty. Now, make sure I get it in the right place. Down a little. Okay, so back to the discussion about eleganza versus DMC. The DMC, I can find the pros for the DMC are that I can find them in 5, 8, and 12. And I really like the 12s for the fine threads. This is the 12, and I really, really like this fine thread, especially if I were doing something like this, I would use a 12. I don't have like a purple in a 12, so I'm going to use 3 strands of a 6-strand DMC 6-strand floss. That is only 3, right? Yep. I'll check that out before I mess that up too. Now, so that is one of the pros of the DMC, and depending on where you shop for it, you can get a pretty good variety of colors. I don't have a store near me that necessarily sells, that is like for embroidery and hand stitching only. I have the typical craft shops that are here, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's. Of course, there's no more AC Moore. There's no more, there was another one that was around a long time ago. So that, unfortunately, you know, the variety has shrunk some. I'm hoping that in our travels this fall when we go, if we get to go, but I'm trying to stay positive, that I will come across heading into New England where, I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot of handcrafting that goes on in New England, and especially in Maine. But I want to see if there are any, what do they call them? What's the easiest way to look it up? It's not embroidery shops. It is fiber? No. Hands? No. Good Lord, I can't think of it. Anyway, anywho's, I am hoping to search some of those out. So if you're in the New England area and you have a favorite shop I could go to, please drop it in the comments below because I would be ever so grateful. Also, a plan that I have, it's just a plan at this point, I need to make it come to fruition, is that I am hoping to dye my own threads. Some of them, not all of them. I can get, you know, you can buy these balls, like I said, in 5, 8, and 12 size. And you get a lot on here. I mean, especially the 12, you get more yards of it. You can also, if you're in the US, I know you can order from Dharma Trading Company, and they actually have cones, like an actual cone of 6-strand thread, just white bleached 6-strand cotton thread, like DMC floss. I don't know that it's DMC brand, so don't quote me on that. I know the balls are, but I can buy those and pre-treat them. You have to wash them first and then skein them off. Well, skein them off first and then wash them and let them dry or not. Pre-soak them in a mordant, which would be, depending on the dyes that you use, if you use a Procyon dye, you can follow the instructions on Dharma Trading Company website. And if you use RIT dyes, you follow their instructions. And basically you mix the dye and you have a plastic sheet, something plastic or vinyl across on your table or countertop or wherever you're doing it. I don't do mine in the kitchen because dyes, even though they say they're safe, I don't trust that. And once you use something like measuring cups so go to Dollar Tree, get measuring cups and measuring spoons from there. Anyway, that's just, common sense and my advice. So you go ahead and, boy, I didn't catch that very well. And mix your dyes, pre-soak your threads, and make sure they're tied well so they don't get tangled. And get some paintbrushes and you paint your threads. And you make your own variegated thread. It's not hard. It can be a little complicated depending on what dyes you're using. And then if you don't mordant them, they won't be color fast. You have to follow the instructions, use the products they recommend, and then you will be fine. So I'm just catching, wow, that was bad. Come on, Martha. Uh-oh. I'm just catching the batting in behind. That's why I use batting, because it's really good for burying your threads. And it'll hold up. I'm catching the batting and the fabric here. And of course that batting is stitched to the front. So this should be anchored down pretty well. Now my stitches are not very much the same on each side, but I don't care. I want a useful book, not something that looks perfect inside. Like I said earlier, this is about making yourself happy. You don't like it? Tear it out. Look at this. I'm going to barely, I don't know if I'm going to make it. There we go. Almost. Okay, I'm going to go in there. And I'm going to go in there. Uh-oh. Oh boy. This is going to be bad. I'm not really going to have enough. Probably just saw all my gray hair, huh? Okay. Yeah, this is not going to work. Okay, Martha. You gotta figure this out. All right. So I'm going to take the really bad way out. Don't do as I do. Leave yourself enough thread, tie it off, get another piece of thread. Don't be chintzy like I am. However, if you do that, if you do what I just did, you can do this. Separate your threads, tie a couple knots, make sure it's tight so your Pocket doesn't come apart. Oops. Oh, to have long, slim fingers. Excuse me. Okay. I could put one more stitch in at the top, and I'll probably do that at a later date, not at the moment. And it's crooked as all get out, but that's okay. There. Now those fit inside, so when this is folded up, they won't fall out if this is moved around. That's what I wanted. So there they are. And if I had an even longer pair in there, should be the same way. Now, pages. Now, one thing you can do is you can put just felt on here and just put your pins and needles in there. You don't need pages. You don't have to do it that way. Nothing says you have to do it that way. I don't know if this is too thin to use as a page or not. Okay, let's see. That folds there, and that folds there. So I'm not going to do it there. I think I'll do it here. Yeah, I don't think that's strong enough. Now I could put that against a piece of this and do a double page like I did in this book. Those are two pieces of felt together. Sure. Let's see. I think I'm going to have to use this piece here or this piece here. So it needs to be just a teensy bit shorter. And then do I want this to come down this way? My brain's been working on this, so bear with me. Because I could do, well, I can't do that with this piece. This piece would be perfect inside. Or I could have a page, but I could also have a fold down flap like this. And that's sort of in my brain what I've been picturing all along, is having a fold down flap like that. Well, okay, like that. So have this flap fold down and then have the pages like that. Instead of doubling it up, I could have like needles here, pins here, have this fold down so they don't run into each other and catch on each other. Is that what I want? I don't know. Or do I want to use this and this? I think I'm going to do that. Okay. Back to the beginning. Tony just came home, I think. He's been gone seeing our horse, Blue. All right, so I think I'm going to make this length. So the lady I bought this from, as I said, she used to own a quilt shop called Kelly Ann's Quilting. And it was in Warrenton, Virginia. Oh, look, that fits perfectly. And She closed her quilt shop, but she got into, oh, what was she doing? Something with felt. This kind of felt, like sheets of felt. So I think she buys it in bulk, does what she wants, and then sells the rest. So I thought that was kind of cool. I hope I'm not getting too close to my hour. I really am, I'll bet you, because I think the first part of this was probably 20 minutes, and I forgot to check when I turned off the camera. Okay. I'm going to do that. And why I'm doing this, of course it's a little crinkled. Maybe I should do it this way. Yes. All right, I'm going to just scissors. Whoa! Okay. Let's see. Yeah, it was too hot and humid for me to go with Tony, because I have heart issues too, on top of everything else. All right. All right, I'm going to stitch these two together real quick off camera. Just going to do probably a running stitch, or I don't know that I'll do blanket stitch again, but that makes those nice and thick. And I'm going to stitch those together, and then I'll come back to stitch them into here, which is going to show on the outside, but I'm okay with that. That'll work okay. And then that's going to go like that. That will fold up like that. You see how bulky that is now? So that's going to, and there's one more little pocket I'm going to add. So I'm going to turn you off for right now, especially since Tony just walked in. And I will stitch this and I'll be back. Okay? Don't go anywhere. Okay, I am back. Now, what I have done is, you saw me, I stitched that on, and the scissors work perfectly in there. And I can fold the flap over. Now, I took another little piece and I sewed, I did think ahead, I sewed the yo-yo on, which is going to make it bulkier, but I wanted something inside. And then I sewed that piece on, but I have it facing the same way as the scissors. Now, whether something will fall out of there or not, I don't know, but I wanted to put, I can't find it because my desk is a mess. I want to put that, the needle threader, and possibly another thimble in there, or I could actually squeeze in I'll betcha, I didn't measure. Why would I do that? A couple of these bobbins in there. Like I could fit probably 2 or 3 in there depending on how tightly they're woven. I didn't make the I should have stretched the pocket more and made it tighter. That may be something I have to go back and do, is maybe stitch it down differently. But I experimented with like a V-stitch and it came out okay. I messed up a couple of times, but that's what I do. So now I have the pages and I've sewn the front piece and the back piece together. But then I thought, okay, this is where my brain was going in the first place. I want a flap there. I really like this wool. This wool is going to hold the pins and needles really well. Like there's one of my needles and it holds it really well. Like it's nice and thick, and it'll kind of wear out over time. I know these have, but if you have, say I have needles here, so they're easily accessible, right? Ow, just stabbed myself. Say I have needles there and I have pins here, okay? And I fold these over, these are going to get hung up on each other, because that's what happened in my other book all the time. I had my needles here and my pins here, and they were constantly catching on each other. They still catch on the fabric and other things. So to avoid that, I put this flap in here. And now I can have pins on this side, needles on this side. If I want to do something different on the front here, I can. If I want to have safety pins and stuff back here, because I think it's always good to have a safety pin or whatever, because if you want to feed a tie through a pocket or something like that, you can do that. So I didn't sew this on very straight. Anyway, all right, needle back in there, since I took it out of there instead of out of my, all right. And the other thing I do is I often just stick pins and needles when I'm working. I often just stick them in there or stick them in the cover. And it makes a great pin cushion as long as you remember to take them out and put them away when you're done. So, and I apologize for background noise because Tony came home, but he wants to work on the yard. And he should, because tomorrow is going to be a very bad day. We are supposed to have some very severe weather, and I am not looking forward to that at all. So, yeah, I'm a little anxious about that, which is why I'm sort of like, I sound a little hyperactive today, maybe. I am going to use this really thick, this is size 5 DMC. I'm going to use this to sew my little pages in here, my book part. So hopefully I can get this needle threaded. If not, I'll get one with a bigger eye. Okay, yay me. Now if it stays threaded. Okay, so I really want this close to the edge here. And I have to find the center part. So the center part is right about here. And I am going to just sort of put that knot up in there, and then I'm going to trim it down. Again, I have thread in on my tongue. I want it centered a little more. Okay. Now, mind you, I haven't connected it yet. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to see. Now that's going to come out right about where these are. If I move it over just a tiny bit, I'm going to see where these pop out. Now these stitches are going to pop out right across the top of this. I'm okay with that. Did I plan it? Heck no. Heck no. I'm just going to roll with it here. Okay. Now I'm going to go back up here, and I'm just going down, I hope. That's going to catch a little on the outside. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight down, and then if I want to come back up, I can. I might have to take this out and straighten it out. It's crooked and it's driving me crazy. I'm going to pin this as well because that's a smart idea, and I'm often lazy and don't do that. Okay, let me pin the, oh, that's a little tiny pin. I need to pin this side as well. That way it won't shift a lot when I'm sewing it down. Okay, Martha. I want it to come out a little closer to the top of that, yes. Now my red one, I sewed more like a journal, and I find it's kind of loosey-goosey. So I'm just going to sew this one sort of down, and if I feel like it's too wobbly, not secure enough, then I can go back up with the stitches as well. That worked out perfectly because you barely notice these stitches in there on the outside. Now see, I can go back up like this, and if I come out at the right spot, I can make it look like solid stitches going straight across here. Yeah, we're supposed to get thunderstorms, wind, and a good possibility of hail tomorrow. And we have a ton of trees around us. So I am not at all looking forward to that kind of weather. Sorry, I was pulling it toward me. Excuse me. Oh my goodness gracious, excuse me. Oi, oi, oi. At least a couple times a day I do this. Welcome to my world. Now, there's a multitude of ways you can connect these, of course. And I'm sure everybody has their own concept of how to do this. And, you know, you got to do you, right? I don't want that to come out there. Where do I want this to come out? I want this to come out up here, but that's an awful long stitch. All right, well, I'll have it come out here and I'll just, nope. Nope, nope, it has to come out here. That's why. And then down here. Nope. I think I'm going to have fun using this, personally. All right, and what I'm going to do is just sneak back down there. Oopsies. I'm going to, gosh. I want to sneak over the top of it just a little bit. Okay. Then I'm going to come around here. I'm going to make a slight knot, pull it up so you really can't see that. And then I'm going underneath the whole thing, connecting in the batting underneath, tying another knot, and then I'm going in very close. I'm going to come out there. I'm going to cut that off and you're never going to see it. There. Okay. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry for sniffling now. Woo! All right, so there's that. If I wanted to, I could put a little, take the other pin out, Martha. I could have sewn this straight down here, sewn this part right to the inside. And that may be something I consider doing since I can put my pins in here. Look how crooked that is. That's going to come off and be resewn. And then pull this around here. And you could even put a little button here and an elastic here and close that if I wanted to. So I think that's it. I think other than a few touch-ups, I'm going to call this good. And then this will go up here. This will go up here. Oh, I have to do a closure, don't I? Two buttons. Excuse me if I would stop sneezing. Oh, goodness gracious. I am sorry. Oh, look how perfect that fits there, right in between the flowers and that. Yep, that's going there. I'll be right back. Hello. All right, I am back. This is the finished project. This is my scrappy needlebook. And there's some things I would do differently next time. I might make some notes and keep them for future reference. Not that I remember to look at my notes, but anyway. So here's the inside. Here is the needlebook. Now see, those are still catching, so I have to tuck the points of the needles into the felt. Otherwise they catch. There's the pins. I could put, reverse them, but the pins would do the same thing. Alrighty, then I did a small braid here and I attached my needle threader. I'm going to bring you in just a tad bit. Okay. And there's my needle threader. So all I did was braid this. I put a knot at the top. Then I just sewed it on there. And there's a little bit hanging out. If that bugs me, I'll cut it off. There's also a bobbin in here with some embroidery thread on it and a silicone thimble. So that all fits in there nicely. This could just hang out, but it doesn't need to. It needs to have a little home. So there's the home. Here are the scissors right here. So I'll bring you back out a little bit. Okay. So there are the scissors. And if I tuck those in, and embroidery scissors would fit in here, they'll be a little taller, but when I find mine, and I did not sew that down, I didn't stitch it down to the back, not yet anyway. And then if I roll this all up, so it's almost like a needlebook roll, and I did attach the elastic. I just tied it in a knot around the button, which was tricky to do, but then that just goes around the other button and there it is. So I'm really happy with this, other than the fact that I think things are facing weird. Like I keep turning it upside down and opening it. But anyway, there it is. And I hope if you made one as well, whatever shape you made it, that you're happy with it and that you'll use it a lot. I know I'll use mine a lot. This is even chunkier and bigger than this one. And so my goal was to have one that I could just pop into a project box easily. This one's a little bit overkill, but it's what was calling to me to make, so I made it. And I may end up making a mini one out of this piece that I started. In fact, I think that's pretty much what I'm going to do now that I've got this one done. So I will show this in a future video. Thank you again for being with me, and I really appreciate it. Love you all. You all take care. Happy crafting. Bye.